um, Lemuria, currently called the Hawaiian Islands. So we're very, on behalf of Kahu and Kirill, we continue their legacy, and also it's our legacy as well. I think what I understand is in my effort to continue this conscious creators, Kirill conscious creators, the legacy of Kahu and Kirill of the seventh dimension, I have realized that the great one, I have realized with great wonderment that you and I have a legacy to continue as well during this great shift in consciousness. I know that the eternal loving light energies of Kahu and Kirill will be felt and healing throughout this program. I invite you to share your thoughts and experience on this topic. It will be a transformative event for you and me. So I'm really looking forward to that, because we have a panel. I'll introduce them to you, a panel of four goddesses who've been with Master Kirill and Kahu for a long time. And I'm really so, they walked with Kahu. They walked the journey with Kahu, and they walked their talk. So what they have to say about this subject, activation of your blueprint before the shift, I'm really interested to know, because even though we read the same books, the same book, our interpretation of the wisdom that's coming from that book is different from our own vantage point. So I like to call it different brands of Kirill. Isn't that cool? Different brands of Kirill. So I would like to introduce our panel today. And Aldine.
Aloha.
She is a chanter for the church that we lovingly call the Honolulu Church of Light. And then the next to her is Corinna, who's a workshop coordinator and teacher of and passionate about signature self and the 5-breath self-healing meditation. And Susana, who has been Kahu's brother-in-law. Wait, is that right? Sister-in-law.
And they're both right.
And has walked the journey of Kahu and Kirill as well. She's a activist for the child weave. Is that the right word? Activist.
I like that word.
Yes.
Advocate.
And activist. That's true. And in the ethereal fabric, as well as her walk here in the third dimension. So I'm really proud. And Gail Kaneshiro, who's been the light, the guiding light for the Honolulu Church of Light. She held the energy here, and here in the valley, in the Kalihi Valley of Oahu. And recently I discovered that not only another purpose that came up for me is she thinks she's held the journey for Kahu and the goddesses, but I think she has a much more broader purpose of why she kept the light in the church in a place called Kalihi Valley. Is a very goddess. And as soon as she's willing to channel why, she's here. She held the light for since 2007, right? Mm-hmm. And Kahu went traveling, and things started shifting in the church, and she held this light to where we have it today, in honor of the goddess, and in honor of the one goddess as well, who we shall not name until later. So I'm excited to tell you that. So many things is coming up, so many new things, and Master Kirill and Kahu is so present with us, so present. well, of course, we miss the physicalness of Kahu, but his light is more, what do I want to say, available, especially to me, who I walked the journey as his partner, as his wife, and I also lovingly call myself his valet. But I think when the role was reversed this time, I think he was my valet in previous life. Supposedly, we had so many lifetimes together. So, you know, I'm opening my heart out to understand, to know who he really was, because I don't think I really knew who the Kahu was, the true Kahu, because I was so into the third dimensional, taking care of Kahu Fred Sterling. So here's one of the ways that I feel that continuing on this legacy and Carol Conscious Creators, that I will get to know him better, more, as I put a lot of focus on my thymus, because where in this thymus is where all my past life knowledge that I need to bring forth here now in the third dimension. So he's helping me through that, and it's amazing. And he doesn't argue with me. So that's a good part. He is only love. Everybody laughed, right? I laughed too. But I miss his physicalness so terribly. But I understand that he had to continue his own journey. And then I believe that he extended his journey for another 15 years. And he was working on to extend it 5 more years, but I think he understood that he was better needed, or he needed to go on to age his soul as well. So it's hard for me to understand that sometimes, but that's what I have to, it's my solace of him not being here in the physical. So we have his energy here, his beautiful face. Sometimes I have him at my house and on the very top, and sometimes I see him when you see his smile right here? Sometimes I see him frown. I go, oh, okay. So he's that present in my life. And so we go back, I go back to the topic, activation of your blueprint. Oh, look at here, I'm tearing. Okay. I didn't bring my script today, so I'm ad-libbing. So I hope on the write-up, I asked you to prepare for this event to read Chapter 3, The Blueprint of Life, which is in the book Guide to the Unseen Self. And it was available, it is available at signaturecellhealing.com. I also suggest that you take the following questions into your sleep state and work with your higher self to activate the cellular memory regarding this topic. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, as I am myself, because I took these questions to sleep state. I read it to you. The question, I took it off this book right here. The question is, could you explain more on how to maximize returning our cellular consciousness from this blueprint? It sounds like the blueprint is more of a block that we put on our cellular consciousness, but is there some way we can reactivate our cellular consciousness by reverting back to original blueprint? Or do we need to find a new mechanism to work with the blueprint as the shift approaches? And Master Kiro's answer is this. That is a beautiful question, my friend. Let me clarify just a couple of the points that you made so that they might vibrate a little bit better in your thought process. It is not as though you have put some form of blockage between the blueprint and the cellular consciousness. The elements of the actually shall we say, interfaced in the cellular consciousness itself. So when blueprint is amplified through what we call the serrate energy, various elements of the blueprint leak from the 90% portion of your awareness into your 10% portion. At this point, you place words to what is taking place. And in fact, you start bringing in all the words you hear out of the 90%, which you then formulate into the context of your life journey. So, do you guys have a panel, goddesses? My panel of goddesses here. So, what have you been thinking about, or what do you have downloads on this particular subject? And here's Aldine goes.
What I found, which is kind of amazing, is a focus on your inner technology. That all of us have inner technology. And you access this inner technology. One way is by doing the 5 breath. You can access your inner technology and switch from your brain thinking to thinking with your heart. And when you do that, you open up avenues and perceptions of life in a very different manner. And so I kept on thinking that if we go ahead and access our inner technology, now this is a fun way. So I want you to all go to the grocery store and pick up a melon, maybe a melon. Melon is good. And use your body as a pendulum. So you need to focus on your heart. So touch your heart or put your fingers on your heart, whatever you want to do. And then take a nice breath. Better to take longer exhale than the inhale. Think of something pleasant. Put that fruit, the melon, to your heart and see how your body moves. If your body moves forward, that means that melon is good. If your body moves back, put the melon down and grab another one.
I know.
You have inner technology. Really, try it. It's so fun. You know, all you need to do is tap into this inner technology, and it's in your cells, it's in your blueprint. We are marvelous.
That's so interesting, because that's going with my thought recently about edge creators. Remember all of you as conscious creators, Kahu and Carol used to say, conscious creators are edge creators.
Yes.
Amazing that we are in that same.
Creators on the edge of
I don't know how if.
Inner technology.
Yeah, inner technology.
That's
You must be tapping into Einstein or Steve Jobs or
your inner Einstein.
your inner Einstein.
So try it. And then Honolulu Church of Light. Wait, what is the email?
Info.
at Honolulu Church of Light. Please tell Gail Jan how you did at the grocery store. We want to hear.
But please shield yourself first.
Yes. And make sure you're not standing on a slant, forward or back.
That's
flat,
true,
right?
true. Yes.
So
Don't
we
stand
hope-
on grocery store platforms. Just
And make sure you put a shield in yourself so people don't start looking at you
Going.
weird.
Right.
Don't be surprised if a child comes to you and go, "What are you doing?"
and then explain and let the child help you. Even better.
That's funny. I love it. Inner technology.
Inner technology.
And you can access it through your 5 breath self-healing meditation. Yeah. Awesome.
Great. Well,
And you
for me, I want to just, Patty, I just want to go back to what you were reading and where you took a pause there, because I thought it was a perfect place to stop. I mean, the whole thing is just awesome, what you pulled out of this amazing book. When we talk about the 10 and the 90, I just want to, because that's something that we use kind of easily between us here, but there might be some of you out there that are not quite clear what that 10 and 90 is about. And the reason I'm so happy that you brought this, Patty, is because in the workshop we were just talking about, the online workshop, First Steps to Signature Cell Healing, we were talking about the 10 and the 90. So the 10% portion, like Master Guy Kirill says, of your brain is a 10% that you need to navigate through the earth plane and the conscious awareness of, you know, what it is to be human, and the 90%, and these are just kind of figurative numbers that he always used, is the 90% is the omni consciousness that we all have access to when we believe we do, and we do. So you can kind of gravitate up, vibrate up higher, and I think that's what Aldine is actually talking about, is, you know, using your inner technology is like accessing that 90%. And that is the awareness that Master Guy Kirill's talking about here, to get into the 90% and draw into your 10%, that awareness of, let it bleed into your 10% and use this connection that you can nurture to enhance your life and to bring in the parts of the blueprint, which is what you're going to read next, how the blueprint interfaces with the cellular consciousness to, at certain points in our life, start to, we raise our awareness to it, and we become more aware through illnesses or somebody doing something to us and we react, or it's something that's drawing our attention to it, that is bringing something forth from our blueprint that we're ready to heal. And one last thing about that is the blueprint, and this write-up, or this question and answer here from the book really helped me to remember how dynamic that blueprint is. And so we think, okay, well, I got a blueprint, I put this blueprint together before I incarnated, that's my blueprint, right? But throughout our lives, it's dynamic. There's things that are, even though we put something together, there might be layers in there. So for me personally, I'm experiencing parts of my blueprint that I never experienced before I was this age that I am now. So there's all types of things going on in our lives. As we heal ourselves and age our soul, we're gonna access more of the blueprint that we're ready to heal.
I believe it's doing that anyway. It was just that what we're doing is we're conscious about, we're raising our consciousness to understand that we have an inner technology. We have this 90% that's going on, even if we're not aware. But this event, this Conscious Creator, was made to raise our vibration so we are aware of what's going on, so we can start to improve our life and not be in a proverbial wheel that we think that we're moving, but actually we're not, right? I mean, we're evolving, but we're not. So that's what I get from what you're saying, that 1090 is happening, but it's based on, you know, our different stages of our lives, yeah?
Right.
So, but then again, when you really want to heal from a disease, that's when you feel like, okay, there must be something new.
Right.
To enhance my journey to heal. And then what Aldine did was the inner technology. I never thought about that. The human body is awesome.
Right.
My gosh. Thanks.
Yes.
My question is, could we say that inner technology is like the intuitiveness? Or my husband used to call it innate wisdom and infinite intelligence, or omniconscious. So the omniconscious, from my perspective, is like all there is to know, and all that is available to us when we're ready. And meditation and prayers and 10 principles help us be in a state of readiness, and we're in a different phase of readiness. So this topic has brought up many, many questions and experiences, But the one thing I'm thinking about is, in terms of blueprint, I went to my friend's mother's celebration of life. 93-year-old Chinese woman. She, I think, was born in New York. Imagine New York City in 1930s.
Wow.
And she, I would say it was her blueprint to do what she did. I read the bio my friend wrote, and it was amazing. At age 16, she so-called told an untruth and said she was 18 years old. So she could teach dance classes in a dance studio. Now imagine a Chinese woman in New York teaching dance. And I thought, wow, what was that like?
So that's part of her blueprint,
That
you're
was
saying?
part of her blueprint. And later on, she did different things. She modeled and things. And then she decided at some point, oh, I want to try acting. One thing led to another. She did some off-Broadway shows, and then she ended up being in, might have been the original King and I with
So
Yul
then
Brynner.
you're saying
Wow.
that even though she was not conscious of her blueprint, she was living the blueprint,
Because this was I guess you can say, the passion.
the passion,
The
right?
passion of what she wanted to do in her life. So I kept thinking, and my other friends and I were reading her bio, and I'm thinking like, now, this was in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s when Asian women in particular were not very visible. And to have been on the Broadway production for a number of years and to be best friends with Yul Brynner, I'm thinking like, wow, So and then she went on later on, and she was doing tap dancing lessons in her 80s.
Wow.
So then,
So
this
I'm thinking about the blueprint and her evolution.
yeah, but okay, take it down to your evolution. She had this New York style of blueprint. So how is your blueprint compared to hers?
I would say being Filipino from the Philippines who didn't speak English, had many experiences which paved the path to what I'm doing now. As an educator, as a counselor, facilitator of people who have experienced loss and trauma and things. So those are the things. And in fact, in the conversation, there were social workers in the group. There were people who worked with suicide survivors and domestic violence survivors. And the commonality was that no matter, and I thought, well, that's the back of my mind, oh, that's part of their blueprint. They came in to experience this part in the blueprint. But in the back of the mind, the commonality is no matter what your blueprint is about, it's all about how you can be in a state of feeling safe and feeling the love. And this is what we do at Honolulu Church of Light. This is what I've done as an educator in the classroom, as a counselor, and all the numerous jobs I've had is creating a safe space. And signature cell healing is one of eyewitness. It creates for an hour a safe space to be out of the Healy's regular life, no matter what it was, and they feel safe for that 1 hour. And in their cellular consciousness, something shifts.
Mhm.
So, and the other safe space we create on a daily basis is a 5-breath self-healing meditation.
Gail, do you have anything to share? Your blueprint is like, to me, you talk about, sticking to your blueprint in life, in the goddess realm, and holding the light for Honolulu Church of Light. How do you feel about that? Want to show your face? Yeah, because to me, here is Gail Kaneshiro, who's been, she came to Kahu and said a long time ago in the 90s that, yeah, let's do it. Let's build a church. Build a church and they will come. And how has that journey been for you? Have you fulfilled your blueprint?
I think so. I feel that. Well, going back at the time, I never seen like what Kahu was doing out there. Because he was doing something like you love yourself, the light and everything, and I'm going, oh, that sounds pretty good. And when I actually met Kahu and Master Kiro, it was the truth.
You felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like nothing can compare what that was. I don't even want to compare, but it's so much love, so much happiness and joy. And I still hold that for the church because it's me inside, so it's my technology. And
Inner technology.
yeah, and it's still there. It's still there. It's hard, and I can imagine you. It's even harder to really. Anyway, that's Kahu's journey, right? And ours too, to feel our love. And that's what he wanted all of us to feel, is your self-love. And to continue that, to continue that loving part of the self.
Wow, Gail, that's beautiful.
So, you know, from what I gather, looking back, and you went with your I know. Yeah. If you didn't come to Kahu and say, okay, I want to create a church with you, I don't think the church would have been a reality.
You're true. That's true.
And then I think that's true.
Yeah.
You know, because of your passion, your knowing. See, that's how it goes. And because of that love that I know, that you would say, what's the word? I'm looking for a word. That you trusted. Because of that, of course, there's a lot with trials and tribulation, whatever
Yeah.
that word is, that went through, that you had to go through to come to this point now. But are you happy with the ripple effect that your blueprint has created?
That's yes. So I had a thought, and an example what Master Kiro gave me was like a bicycle. The bicycle cannot move with only one wheel. So in that sense, you know, in order to really get into the true trust and passion, I had to also be another wheel. And no matter where that wheel would take me or what, it'll be always in truth, trust, and passion.
Wow, that's so
I
great.
mean, just the feeling is incredible on that. So anyway, that's what Master Kiro.
Oh, can you see that image? That is so perfect, Gail. The truth and the trust are the two wheels, but it's the passion that moves you forward.
That's right.
That is perfect.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Gail.
Thank you.
You're always behind the camera, and I think now your blueprint from now on is to share your wisdom.
Okay, a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So as we talked about the 1090. Each part of the cellular consciousness absorbs segment of the blueprint, which are to be utilized at a future time. It is set up in such a fashion that 90% mind knows when to begin interaction with the blueprint.
Yes.
The 90% knows how to refocus the blueprint so that it will settle into the areas where it's supposed to be. The 10% mind, the learned part of your journey here, begins to reset the blueprint out of fear. Wow. And out of that we consider to be the ego system. So the plan, as you are asking about, has been established. Wow. My goodness.
To me, that sort of becomes more dynamic, right? Because we establish the blueprint when we come, but then we live our lives, and there's that interaction with the people in our lives and the events that happen that bring up the healing for us. And of course, we experience the fears, and we experience the love, and we experience the healing, and that expands us from the 10. Remember, Master Guy Kiro and Kahu always said that we, as we're healing, we're expanding more and more into love. So we're expanding that 10% into the 90. And he used to talk about people that were 44%. Remember, he said Obama was 44% into his 90. And so what I realized from Master Aikiro was that and Kahu was that as we heal and we work in this blueprint, in this cellular consciousness, and expand the 90, that's just more of our capacity to understand love. The more that we expand into the 90, it's the more that I can experience the love of who I am. What a beautiful way of depicting it. For me,
Right.
I'm a real Kahu and Kiro fan.
So am I. Well, okay. We have our original spark of light from our Creator.
With the blueprint.
With the blueprint. And then what we do with that spark of light, we join it with the egg and the sperm. And then our human body develops in the womb, right? So when do you think, so the blueprint is activated every 7 years of our life within the womb? There's, the Moore numerology, where it's really fascinating.
Another chapter.
In the chapter 3, everyone must read that, to understand yourself growing up and what happened in the womb, And even if you have babies around you and you can say, they're in their second cycle of life and all of that stuff, it's good for people to understand that. And because my son, Rick, every 7 years he changed. It's like, do I know you? Every 7 years. So
That's a really good example.
Yes.
That's the story that's in the Signature Style Healing book. You can see from both angles, from Rick's angle and Kahu's angle, and also the idea of splinters and aspects that come into us at certain times of our lives
Right.
that shift the blueprint.
now, is that in the blueprint, you think?
I think the potential for that is in the blueprint.
Ah,
I think the potential is in the blueprint,
I'm glad you said that.
which
The potential for the blueprint. We have so much
Right.
potential in our blueprint. When it happens, determines on the choices and the experience a person has.
yes.
And because I kept thinking, personally, I felt my blueprint was on hold
Wow.
after Peter passed, and I was lost. It felt like I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what I was going to do. What else, in my life. And just in the recent, I would say 6 months, that I started kind of reconnecting to the blueprint. Because a part of my blueprint was so connected to Peter, our life together, our mission together in education, and social work field and things like that. So when he was no longer physically here, I felt so lost that, and then when this topic came out, I go, oh, now I understand. It was like the blueprint was on hold. Blueprint was always there. So what happened? Because then pandemic happened, right? And that brought a whole new set of lesson plan, not just for me, but for everybody else.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, it's, if we don't do it within the so-called 7 years, my question is, does that get lost or just on hold?
Interesting question.
It doesn't get lost.
No, and I wonder if it's on hold, or it might be the perception that it is because you're working through these parts of your blueprint and you just have allowed yourself more time to do it.
Right.
So that is part of the blueprint and you're working through it. Master Carol always said to me that times when I've felt really it's a difficult situation, that the splinters will come through to try and help me understand a new level, and they'll keep vibrating with me, my angels or my guides vibrating with me until I have this awareness that, and that's the way it comes for me, it's like, wow, that it's time for this new level. And I think within the last 6 months, this is maybe what you've experienced, something like that.
I think for my own blueprint, as all these years, with 55 years with Kahu, it was always taking the role as a valet. Meaning, I mean that from a very loving stance, because I came here to take care of his physical needs, and I think I did a very good job.
Yes.
Sometimes
Did.
but I also regret not having known him, the true light of him, and there's a so many regrets from that sense. But I since had to learn to stop that, because I was saying, okay, I wish I knew what people knew, yeah, but I was too busy. But then again, was I following my blueprint as being the valet for Kahu, being there?
Caregiver, maybe?
Yeah, you think, it was my. But then again, like you said, when he died, when he left, and I go through this, oh wow, what am I going to do with my life now? Yeah, and I go through this screaming sessions with him.
So I want to just ask you, because during those years that I think you're referring to, I mean, I was involved with you in Kahu and going to workshops and doing things, and you were very active in helping people in those workshops and teaching people how to heal. So from my perspective, of course, we all have a perspective on our own life, right, and our own blueprint, right? But from my perspective of what was happening there was you were multitasking in so many ways, that you were a caregiver for Kahu and being his wife and doing that role. But at the same time, you were a partner to him in his teaching journey and the workshops. And the goddess light, let's not forget the silver wings, right? And all the adventures we had in that. So I think I also tend to narrow down my life into, okay, I'm this or I'm that. But we are actually all really big multitaskers and working through various parts of the blueprint.
No wonder I'm so tired.
Yeah.
And I think there's an element of this concept of aging your soul.
Yes.
That comes in, you spiral up. It might seem like those things that you see are the same, but no, that's not true. You're spiraling up, you spiral up, you spiral up, and your soul ages as you go through everything. So I think all of us take our right hand, put it on our backs, and tap our best. Good job.
Good job. Good job, yeah.
It is, it's the multi-dimensional beings.
There you go.
I keep saying, and this, the potential, I love what you said, the potential of our blueprint. Because I remember Master Curl said, we put so many things in our blueprint. And then from the human perspective, is how are we going to do it all?
Because of our passion.
Because, you know, in human time, you can only do so much in a 24-hour day. But in one of my writings with Peter, he reminded me that we were our relationship was spiritual first.
Hmm.
Then we met in the physical human form. Then we had this relationship in the human life form. But all along, we were always connected in spirit. And that, you know, I just realized, oh yeah, that's why we were holding hands when we were sleeping, because we were traveling together.
Wow, that's so cool.
And things. So it's kind of, and he said, so now I'm in spirit and you're still in the physical form. We're still holding hands.
Wow.
We're still moving forward in our own evolution blueprint. Then I thought, okay, does the blueprint continue? My question last night to him was, so then your blueprint is continuing in your spiritual light.
Or at a new level.
Yeah, so then I kind of go, wow, you know. But so it's like you and Kahu, from what I am understanding, you, even though you were focused on his physical needs and needs of the church, you were also working, you and he, as well as others, were working on the spiritual realm. So call that multitasking, call it multidimensional experiencing. We can put many titles to that. So
I think for my part, where, you know, being of help in the learning to be goddess, remembering to be goddess, that to me is like, I didn't have a plan, you know. It's like it just took me, and this says this is where you go. You know what I mean?
And knowing.
A knowing that says, okay, you're going in this direction, but that's so different from planning a third dimensional life. Yeah.
Right.
It's like there's different aspects of my life. And when it was like time to go on a goddess trip, it was, yes, I had to fly in an airplane. I had to get ready, you know, third dimensionally. But then when I was in that space, it was like another blueprint kicked in. Like, this is what you had to do. This is what I had to do to raise my vibration, you know, to do the hook removal, to go into the craft, you know, and meet the Master Jesus that I know. You know, that I don't know if that is planned.
I think we're still on the same topic, because I
Yeah.
think you are in that light. You move more into your 90%. The Master Kira is talking about the 10 and the 90, and this next paragraph that you're going to get to on sooner or later is my favorite paragraph.
Okay,
of
when you read
this.
it.
Of
When
this.
you read
Okay,
it.
so the next paragraph here in the book says, "I'm glad you asked this question as it relates to the shift, because it might be the most important answer I give. As you arrive at this thing called the shift, everyone's blueprint will begin to emerge from the 90% awareness, which means the 90% part of the mind will begin to segment itself, and it will search out all of those layers that have been superimposed into the conscious parts of the body. Then it will begin to draw them back into the memory banks of the 10% awareness. Therefore, eventually, as you close in on what we call the shift, you will begin to see patterns of energy that will literally explode in your 10% mind. You will begin to attain great insights into your past lives, as well as into parts of this life. Much of the blueprint that you have stored away will become available to you as the shift of earth unfolds." I just pray that this gets out to as many people as possible, because this explains so much of what's happening to myself and to so many people I know, people that are coming for healing, that suddenly say, well, why is this happening to me suddenly? And this little paragraph right there really helps understand that, helps me to understand.
Right. And also, I love your inner technology because most of you know I'm really into K-dramas because I learned a lot. When I wanted to learn about my emotional body, I didn't really understand. I was so strong in my spiritual body because of Kahu and Carol and the work that I did as a goddess of removing hook removals. And it was really strong. But then what happened was I forget that I had 3 other bodies, that I had to develop. So then a year, 2 years ago, Kahu was focusing, Carol had this way of focusing people,
Oh, yeah.
and amazing, that he focused my body on the emotional body, And what triggered it, what he said, that when we do the 5 breath self-healing meditation, we enlighten all 70 trillion cells. Then he brought up, each cell has an emotional body.
Yes,
Do you remember that?
yes.
And that's what I do. Every night, I not only ignite all 70 trillion plus cells, but the emotional body. And then I didn't even understand what this, what's the difference between romantic love and then love for self? What does that, is there a difference? Or love between my husband and me, so the dramas, the romantic comedy really helped me because what they do, with the Koreans rom-com, they really feel, I could feel them. And so they help me with help me understand the interaction between human beings, the love, and then help me heal the issues with my mom, with my dad, and my siblings. Really helped me, and to know that, to understand that underneath they were coming from love. It's always based on love, because we have the karmic issue to deal with is love. But right now that I'm almost done with romantic dramas, because now I'm into getting to know what is my mental body all about. Because Kahu and Carol says, you're really strong in the mental body. And I go, what does that mean? So now, but what happened was, interesting that you should bring out inner technology. I watched this documentary on, called Enter the Anime.
Okay.
Anime is a product of the Japanese cartoons, and Hello Kitty was from that. And all these, and I watched the interviewer, the people that interview, that creates all this manga, this comic, and I'm looking at them, and I'm listening to them, and they were so centered, and they're so centered. And you know what I got? What's common with them and us? They said they get their inspiration from taking a bath, from taking a shower, and taking a stroll in nature. Now, that was surprising to me, but the animes from Japan, they say Japan has their culture very stoic, very traditional, and there's this subculture going on, and that's how Hello Kitty is still popular, and they interview. But you know what? Those creators, their age creators, they're not in competition. They have this blueprint, if I think a blueprint, to bring out this creation that they must share with the world. And I'm going, I have that. I have that. So that's my new thing. Is like we're all edge creators, right?
Edge creators.
Remember?
Yes.
Master Carol used to say, I think there's a CD.
Creators on the edge of evolution.
Yes. So we all have our parts of being an edge creator. So we're not in competition with each other. We're not. But there's something unique in all of us that says, this is what I need to bring out. So interesting that when I was 18, before I met Kahu, I wanted to go live in Japan for a while.
Ah.
And then all of a sudden, this new it's a Netflix. I was interested in anime and manga and all that stuff. And the Hello Kitty, which is popular with the kids, was created, was an edge creator, and all the little trinkets. You know, I go, wow. Of course, some of them is like dark, but still, I think this world is so huge, yeah? And we have different levels. We are connected on different levels, but we're all edge creators. So my thing is, what stops me? I gotta go deep inside of me and say, okay, what is it that I need to bring forth? And that is what we all should do as spiritual seekers. So we combine, we balance and harmonize our four bodies. We get to get in touch with our blueprint, because there's something really exciting for each of us, each one of us that's unique. And this is why, at first when Kahu brought this to my attention, I go, oh, I don't know much about this. But then since that time, I was guided to understand. And you brought up, I love that. And then to understand, like, okay, in my sleep state programming, Einstein shows up, Steve Jobs shows up, and then Elon Musk, is that how you say it? Elon Musk. Now, who are those? Who are those people? They're edge creators, right? Isn't that amazing? When you utilize your sleep state, because sleep states also affects your blueprint, right?
Right. So just for people listening that might not know, that edge creators then what we've learned here with Master Guide Kirill and Kahu is the 10 principles of consciously creating are what help us to be edge creators, like you're talking about the sleep state programming, which is the 9th principle, and then the signature cell healing, and all of the Kahu and Kirill wisdom that helps us to be edge creators and to bring out that part of me that you're talking about. This is what I want to bring forth, right? And it might be something that comes up in your blueprint because it's time to bring that forth.
Why is it in your blueprint, though? Why is it in our blueprint to be unique? Because before we came into this world, I know that we have all these different lifestyles, that we perfected something. And so we came here to evolve that perfection. What do you guys think?
I like that.
Well, I hear somebody listening now saying, well, that's fine. How come I have cancer? Or how come I have, I can't walk anymore? Or how come this? Or how come that? These are all the things that, we're talking about, that the insights into your past lives that start to come up now in the blueprint. Or how come, somebody leaves the earth plane? That is all the timing for us to focus on the next level of what we can do. Recently for me, a year ago, I wasn't walking so well at all, and I was a little bit afraid about that because I got diagnosed with osteoporosis and arthritis and everything. And a year later, I'm doing much, much better. And the reason is I started to address the past lives with signature cell healing. Right? So it's the past lives that can come up disguised as ailments or cancer or a person in your life that's difficult Maybe you have a partner that has Alzheimer's. I have someone that I know that their partner has Alzheimer's, and she doesn't know it, but he knows it, you know? So what's that about? So there's a lot of things that come up for us personally that look like illnesses or diseases, and when you go to your doctor, the doctor's going to tell you something that is third dimensional or on the 10% level that is maybe signature cell healing and what Kagu Master Carol have brought forth for us can help on a different level. And it certainly helped me because I'm releasing those past lives, and the child, like you were talking about the thymus code and working with the child self, are the things that come up for us that are the challenges in our blueprint that we kind of need to go through in order to get to those things I want to bring forth, right? Right?
Inner technology person?
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Child self person?
When you said that last thing you said, Karina, I remember our dear friend Don had, actually Master Carell had told Don to give me a message about my work with children with special needs. So my message from Don was, okay, go into sleep state, because I had about 10 children with varying degrees of special needs. And so you pick 2, you work with the 2 for 2 weeks, and you go to the next 2 and the next 2. And simply put, okay, they all had their own blueprint. And I'm going, why are they all in my class? But then by keying in sleep state, my question to each of them is, how can I support you in what you have come to Earth to learn? And for each, it was individualized. They each had different lessons. They each had different needs. But then the world of special needs therapists would say, well, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this, you have. And I looked at the individual education plan, well, they all look the same. And I said, no, they have, in my mind, in my heart, I said, they have special needs. I need to focus in on what's in their heart. And, you know, I didn't know about Blueprint back then, but then I did know about, they come here for a reason, you know. And thanks to Master Carol's guidance and to Don, that was one of the greatest things that helped me through that challenging 2-3 years that I had these children, you know. And
I have a question.
yeah.
How did that play into your personal blueprint, your own blueprint?
My own blueprint was that I knew at 4 years old I wanted to be a teacher.
Wow.
So, and I knew that I wanted to help them and not just read or write. You know, so that's what I knew when I was younger. And along the way, whenever I had questions, a book would pop up, an innovative workshop would pop up, and so my own evolution as an educator had evolved over the years.
Wow.
And it still does, you know, because I'm no longer in the classroom, but I'm working in virtual workshops and stuff. And thank you, Zoom. And
So you're working with adults now? You're working with adults?
yeah, Master Carell told me that part of my blueprint was to work with the child self of the big people.
Oh, cute.
I can just get a picture of that right now. Yes,
I like
yes,
And I
yes.
go, I don't want to do that. I just want to work with the little ones.
You know, for myself, it's interesting. I started, when I keep asking myself, what now? You know, all this in this lifetime is like, I never really planned anything, but, you know, I went with the flow. It was so interesting. It's like, I just went with the flow, and I guess like Gail, it was like following your blueprint unconsciously.
Yes.
can that be?
I just heard, what if the flow is the plan?
Yes,
I just heard that.
yeah. And but
What
the,
if the flow is a plan? I love
the
that.
flow is a plan, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're right. Can you write that?
And you
It's in there,
applied
it's
your
in
inner
there.
technology unconsciously. You applied your inner technology.
Unconsciously. So then,
Subconscious.
as conscious creators, now what is the difference then? And in accessing our blueprint, activating the new part, are we like okay?
You mean at the time of the Great Shift?
Now,
Uh-huh.
because I think it's, everybody's talking about 2025, right? The kind
I
of
know
stuff.
you are, but I don't hear it much
it's
elsewhere,
all
but
over
I hear it,
again.
and I totally get it, because it's a 9-year.
Yucky, yeah,
I
it's
totally
so
get
yucky, it's stuff out there.
Oh,
And so I think, okay, instead of
yucky stuff.
all dark information.
Okay, so what were you saying?
So, from now to 2025, what can I do?
Uh-huh.
Because I don't know. It's like when the COVID came, it was like, wow. So what do we do now? But then that changes everybody's blueprint, right? COVID did.
Maybe it was in the blueprint.
It was, we were put on pause, and we started to rethink our life.
I wonder about that pause thing, because for me, my perspective, Master Guy Carroll has always said, this is the great shift. Fred Sterling, all about, this is the great shift. And so when the pandemic came, I just said, well, this must be the great shift, and this is part of it, because we know people want to get off of the earth plane. This gave them a way to get off I'm sorry, but this gave them I'm not sorry, but this is a way for people who are ready to leave. And it also gives multitudes of experiences of healing between families, between partners, the health system, everything.
Yes,
So,
that's what I mean
right?
by pause. Pause that tells you, okay, you got to pause your habits, and start rethinking.
So that's your 10% that's pausing. Your
Really?
10%, your 10%
I don't know about that.
system.
I
Is
don't
your
know about
90
that.
paused also?
I don't know about that yet, but I have to bring that into meditation, because you cannot just put everything in a category, right?
Yeah, but how do you define pause?
Well, say, okay, so this happened in my life, so what do I need to change now?
Oh, okay.
Okay, and it's like, okay, Kahu left, what do I need to change now? But something says, again, reminded me that my life was always in the flow,
Uh-huh.
and I never really planned.
And the
It
flow is
just-
the plan.
And so then I think, so it's really too simple to say the flow is the plan,
Okay.
Because if you don't really understand that, did you understand the flow is a plan 20 years ago?
I had, 20 years ago, I had challenges with that, because I am a planner, right? That's a big part of who I am. I'm a planner. I come from a family of planners. And it certainly helped Kahu and Master Kiro get out into the world. I mean, that was part of my blueprint, planning workshops, planning these books and publishing and all those things. So, my part of my journey is to go with the flow and understand that the flow is the plan. And wherever I end up is where I'm supposed to be,
Absolutely.
right? So, I mean, that's how I interpret it.
Like just a little from the chat room. They're going, thank you for the wonderful conversation.
Who's that?
Oh, nice.
Tanya Starkman.
Ah, Tanya,
Hi,
she's in the
Tanya.
workshop. She's coming to visit.
So then,
Well, that's is explained in the paragraph you read.
Yes.
Okay, if we are to have the thinking process that the 90% is our blueprint, our omniconscious is in there. Our conscious human mind doesn't know what the so-called plan is that's in the blueprint in our 90%.
Right.
But there is that. But when I'm thinking of, when you say, if I'm in the flow, I'm going to know what to do next. So I'm seeing, okay, if I relax my busyness in my mind, then I'll be able to access, and I go up because, but it's all around us, right? I'll be able to access the so-called all that is available to us in the 90% in our blueprint. So in our conscious human mind, we don't have a plan because we don't know what's there. We
Wait,
kinda
But
think.
your inner technology
yes.
knows.
Technology does.
And I'd like to put in a plug for signature cell healing right here, because that's the key to the great shift in consciousness, right? That's how we get to the 90%.
So each level, that paragraph you read, each level we expand to brings about more of the so-called what do we
Inner
call it?
technology.
Internal
Yeah.
technology
Yeah,
plan.
And you're expanding into the 90, right? So then you might have more awareness of what the plan is.
I think bottom line, if you were to, yes, we're rethinking it, right? Rethinking it. Thinking and we're trying to put it in a flow. That's the plan. Now I understand the flow. Is the plan.
The flow, yeah.
But when you're in love, I think the 10%, the type 10% is in conflict with the 90%, because that's where the ego is, right? The ego, the 10% is based on what happened in the past. You can't do this when that 90% comes in with a new information, and then that 10% stops it and say, well, you can't do this because remember when you did this? So but then that's why in the signature cell healing, what it's about is creating from fear, from the space of fear into love.
Right, moving from fear to love.
Yes, creation from fear to
And
love.
like, to carry your analogy forth, expanding the 10% into the 90, so the ego relaxes more and you have more love. You are operating more from love. I mean, this is the way Master Kirill had explained it. I mean, that's how I see it because of his explanation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because when we're in, someone has a comment?
Yeah, as a share.
Okay.
For Susanna, I guess, I believe we have this similar life path.
Oh.
I knew since young age that I want to be a teacher, and I was a special education teacher for
Wow.
more than 30 years.
Wow.
Is that
What's her
Tatiana?
name? Tatiana.
Oh,
Very cool.
wow.
I think the special needs students are the most heartful. Talk about teachers.
Right.
You
Patience.
think we teach them, they teach us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially those Special Olympics,
Mm.
you see the joy in the kids, and you feel their love. It's so different. It's different.
So here we are at this time of the great shift. We are in a shifting process because I see all of us shifting. And that's why we created the church, thanks to Gail holding the light. The church is a community of new thinkers, so to speak,
Right.
right? We're trying to understand how to create in love. And I'm really proud of it, proud of us, because I still, I think no matter how much you evolve your light, there's always going to be a question, at least for me, what is Goddess Light all about?
Oh.
What is self-love all about? What is my mental body? And Master Kirill says I'm so strong in it. So I'm trying to understand that. And one day, when I understand that, I will bring all four bodies together, and voila.
And you'll be out of here.
I don't think so.
Graduation.
Because
Maybe not.
you know what, I think even though the person is not here, in the physical, you still create a very intimate relationship.
Yes.
Not from the human aspect. You create a stronger relationship with that person or that light. I always, for Kahu and Carol, I always say at night, oh, I know you're huge out there, but thank you for, sharing that one spark of light to be the guardian of my walk here on earth.
Right.
And you know that word because I know they're bigger. They work all over the universe, and so are we. When we're in sleep state, we travel, right?
I think this is a really good thing that you're bringing up now is that us working with Master Guide Kirill and Kahu on the higher light and all of the aspects of the angels and the guides and Peter and all of these energies that are working with us that are still human, still doing the human journey to help us through the great shifting consciousness. It's such a beautiful multi-dimensional experience right now.
It is right
if
now.
we can elevate in the 4 pillars, prayer, sleep state programming, masterminding, to meditation, to elevate ourselves so we can access the wisdom that's available for us now. You know all about it, right? So, I mean, that's the beauty of this time. Of
The
great
beauty of
shift.
this time, and I think that's the most important. I think all of us, you are with me when we say to you, that's the most important thing to take away from this discussion, this event, that we are multidimensional beings. We have access to, I think the human aspect of us is just a small part of us. Like I came to understand that we spend, time and space, 24 hours, so to speak. But in our wake state here in the 3rd dimension as we walk this earth, it's like 18 hours max. And then when we have the sleep time, we are limitless.
Yes.
We go in sleep state. The sleep state is our portal to get to experience other dimensions. And whatever we experience, we're aging our soul, and whatever we need, we bring it back here to make our life better, our walk better. Do you agree with that?
I do.
And that's the beauty of the 10 principles of consciously creating, because that's how the Lemurians used just what you're talking about, and could use the sleep state to be that multidimensional being and bring it back for guidance, for their own guidance.
I keep going back in my reflections about, my relationship with Kahu. I remember in the beginning, she would say, "What if everything is possible? What if you can have all that is the little cassette that was made?" And then he says, "What if we're all connected?" So at that time, my mind, what do you mean we're all connected? But now looking back, because he always says, "What if?" in the beginning is what if. So by saying what if, he was challenging our thinking process to go beyond what I'm going to call it the limitations of our current way of thinking.
So the 10%.
Yeah. So it was, so now I smile because I'm going, oh wow, I really expanded. So now the question that popped up is, what if all our blueprints are connected? And then I had the thought that Master Kirill and Kahu, I think it was last year, in one of our sessions, he said, you have so many aspects. Take advantage of them. And go out there and talk to them in soul speak You know, so with all the issues that's going on in our country and the world, I'm going, oh yeah, okay, who's my aspect? Never mind, you don't need to know who they are or where they are. Just say, I'm going to my aspects. I trust that we together will find some solutions for whatever's going on. You know, so he once again helped me see the multidimensional level of our beingness. That we're not here alone working at Honolulu Church of Light. You know, that there's so many. So, you know, talk about blueprint. All the blueprints are coming to surface with the LGBTQT and with all these different, you know, factions of our society, the different belief system politically, you know, the different belief systems in the medical field and all of that. So maybe it's coming up because we created a safe space for it to come up. But in the process, there's turmoil because the 10% understanding is saying, no, you're right. No, you're wrong. You know, and all of that. So this image of our blueprints are working together somehow. But our human selves are trying to make sense of it. So then my initial question is, how do we do this?
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
Giljan wants to interject. Did you want?
And loud enough, Gail, so they can hear.
Yeah, this is from Sandra, sorry.
Sandra!
The human experience seems to revolve around people needing to let issues that arise with others temporarily detour them from continuing to love those same people in the same way to learn lessons.
Wow.
That's a cool. Can you say
Read
that
it again.
The human experience seems to revolve around people needing to let issues that arise with others temporarily detour them from continuing to love those same people in the same way to learn lessons.
And to learn to love the self. I would put at the end of that because it's all going to come back to the self, right? All of the people in my life, everything around me.
The other thing this is coming from Susanna's What If. Do you know that whether you vision something or you actually experience something, your brain takes it as the same?
That's right.
The same. So you don't have to go through the experience. You can mentally say, what if blah, 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 blah. And then that vision is something that your brain says, let's do it.
So it helps to have a vision for what you want, right? Like a mastermind or something like
Or
that.
a what if, right?
Or a what if.
The what if.
Well, you would.
Well, what you're saying is you exist in two different worlds then, right? You can't.
Yes,
ex-
and this is a
Yes.
mental. This is
Right.
the mental part of you.
Right.
I mean, what a gift! You just say "what if," and then ta-da, you're there.
It's so weird that this is an example why what I experienced, what you're saying. Okay, I was saying to myself, oh, I didn't hold Kahu's hands enough. I didn't cup his face as often. I didn't hug him as often. I should have done that. But you know, in my sleep state, in my imagination, is that an imagination? No, I don't think. Because you know, when I come to this bowl every night, he holds my hand, and I can feel his physicalness. I can feel his hand, his physical hand, and that is my example of what you're saying, right? And that what happens in your so-called imaginary world is not imaginary. It happens for real, and that shifts the cells in your body.
Right.
That fulfills a craving in myself are yearning to to finish up a life that I think I didn't do enough for Kahu. Isn't that cool?
Very
So,
healing.
you know, whoever you're missing out there, or even have a difficulty with a person, bring it in your sleep state, in your, bring it here.
Yeah.
And this, you talk about creating a safe space here. I mean, wow. And
So Sandra, that's a, huh?
Can't be any safer.
yes.
So that's a great answer for Sandra.
Yeah.
To bring those people
And-
that are you're having difficulties with, put them in the pool and jump in there with them. You know?
And you don't have to put, the bowl glows, and then I think this whole church
Yes.
becomes the bowl.
Yes.
And then you bring a chair, you sit with them, you imaginary sit with them, and you start talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You're going to converse with them one-to-one on a heart level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wow.
And that kind of awareness, we're elevating out of that 10% that says, no way, this is a third dimensional world, you can't do something like that. But what if you could, right?
Here's another example. So, you ready?
9 minutes.
So here's another example. When we do the 5 breath self-healing meditation, yeah, I open up my portal with the first round. The second round, and I would put whatever ails me, I put my hand on there. And you know what? That part, like for, you know, the liver part, for some reason, for a while, my liver, every time I would breathe into my liver, it was warm. And then one day, breathing, and it starts talking to me.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's what you can look forward
Right.
to when you're not afraid, when you're coming from love. And it says, drink more water. Okay, drink more water. So
Last night.
that's
Cellular
the
consciousness
Yeah, that's-
communicating with you.
yeah.
Yeah.
Inner technology.
inner technology. So we're on the brink, not on the brink. We are.
We're on the edge of
creator.
creation.
Edge of creation.
So think about that, gang. It's like, come on, let's do it. Let's put our past behind us, and yes, we have aches here and there, and yes, yeah, because you know what? Our bodies, the physical bodies is aging. That's why we do the 5 breath. That's why you're learning how to do the signature cell healing. And you know what? You have to keep doing it, like exercise.
Keep
You know,
doing
keep doing it, because the energy of on Earth, it keeps fluctuating, and the way we keep in the space of love is through the 5 breath, setting our intentions, being the edge creator. I think it's so much fun, right?
One of the most beautiful things Kahu said was, Master Kirill, very simple, never give up.
Yeah,
Just keep moving forward in love.
yeah.
Never
So,
give up.
last word.
I think what you said about the question, what if? It is a scientific, there's some scientific research. It changes the brainwave patterns. And Kahu brought this up early, I don't know what 1989 or something like that. And I go, oh, Kahu, this is where you access your 90% brain before the research showed that this is good for you, you know. And and it changes the way you look at whatever situation you're going. When you go, what if? There's a what if I could, as opposed, no, I can't. You know, it goes into the what if I could do that. So that's my new mantra now is what if.
Okay, that just made me remember something that Kahu always had in the workshops, and I will always keep it in the signature cell healing workshops, and that is the self-talk that we have and how empowering that is if I say I can instead of I can't, or I know instead of I don't know, because as soon as you use the negative, you have cut off any insights, right? And you're empowering yourself through the cellular consciousness that says, I know. So,
I remember
thank you.
he started the workshop like, okay, one of the rules that in the workshop is for the 2 days, you cannot say I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's still in there. It's still still tell the students that.
Because what happens if you, when you say I don't know, you put a block and between the I know and your between the 10% and your 90%,
Right.
which is so
And
cool.
expand that out to
Yeah.
anything that we say. As you say it, so it is, right? It is so. It is so.
Inner
It is
technology
so-
person.
Yeah.
Inner technology. So everyone, please go to the grocery store, pick up a melon, go ahead and do 5 breaths in a modified way. Take a few breaths. Get to a place where you're breathing. Your inhale is shorter than your exhale. That allows you to understand that you're safe. Don't look at the people around you, that you're safe. And then think of something that makes your heart sing. Then use your body as a pendulum and please tell Gail Jan what you found.
And when your body tells you that, you're going to say, I know.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
So we had a really awesome discussion here on activating your blueprint in the Great Shift, and we are in the Great Shift. You know, so we have so much still available to us because we know we know here that we are unlimited beings. And so be the edge creator that you are. And think about that. What does that mean to you? And you know, put it in a question form, take it in your sleep state. How am I going to be an edge creator? And you will be so surprised. And you'll free yourself for all the bondage
Yikes.
of the third dimension.
You'll enjoy your journey more.
You'll be free.
Yay! You have delicious fruits.
Goodbye, Susanna.
Thank you. And can I leave you with this? I love this prayer for the beauty. It's on HonoluluChurchOfLight.com. Well, I was chuckling this morning because here, the second to the last paragraph, Masakiro prayer for us. He goes, I pray that each of you hear this. For your guidance, I offer you the light of truth, trust, and passion. Know that you have come here to hear these words. I present you your future and as it is in the today. 100% of all that you have ever wanted, 100% of all that you have ever thought is now yours. For you are committed to 100% each day. Now, think about that. You are, every day, you created your 100%. Whether you like it or not, you created it. So be thankful. If you want to change that, what that 100% look like, you have the ability to change. You know, if you're moan and groan, hey, that's part of your thought process. So you did it, you created it 100% in the negative, but you know, you get to choose. How about that? 100%. Every day you're creator because you are a creator. You are a creator energy and always creating it 100%. But you choose what that 100% means to you.
So here's some people, they're saying hi and bye and thank you. Anyway, Sandra, I did thank you, goddesses. That's an awesome truth and good ideas. You definitely can do everything we'd like to do. I at least can't. Anyway, lots of love to you, Sandra.
Thank you.
And
And
to Anne from
Anne.
Acton.
And aloha.
And Bigfoot and Jennifer, whatever the last name, but anyway, they all given you your love.
Mahalo.
awesome. Thank you.
Mahalo,
You-
everybody.
Hello.
Remember, you are a light worker, and you are a light worker on edge.
Edge creator.
Bye. Aloha.
Are we done? Smiling. Kaho's looking at us.